Hey there, it's Pete Checkley for Sample Library Review, and today I'm taking a deeper look at Cycles by Slate and Ash. Originally, Michael Reinmuller shared his thoughts on Cycles back in June, and this video will complement Michael's findings with audio examples and a visual guide. Michael was full of praise for the library, yet due to its vastness, it may be impractical when faced with tight deadlines or simply trying to pick out a timbre you need out of the vast options. Join me as we delve deeper into Cycles. Cycles downloads at 2.8 gigabytes and has 189 preset patches. There are 100 preset engine states and 494 sound design loop sources. Slate and Ash recommend that you use an up-to-date and powerful CPU. Cycles runs in the free Contact Player 6.3.2 or better and is also using NKS. Cycles sells for £270 at Slate and Ash, but is also available in a bundle with Auras for £390. Cycles comes to us from Bristol-based sound design company Slate and Ash. Cycles is a companion library to Auras. Auras is all about big, otherworldly, experimental textures that can be manipulated and sculpted any way you want to. Cycles maintains that idea of being incredibly customizable, but is all about sequences. It uses granular synthesis and a whole host of other parameters that can be controlled. What I'm going to do is show you the sounds out the box, so I'll turn off the mic and play some examples. So right out the box, Cycles sound very intriguing, very complex, has some great sounds going on there. All the reverb, etc., all the effects, that's all generated by Cycles on board, and it's very, very impressive. There are 189 presets, so you could spend hours just going through finding a sound you like. Now, when Michael reviewed this, it was one of his concerns was, it sounds great, but it's so big. There's a lot going on, and you could spend hours just going through looking for what you want. So it's in NKS. You can favourite the ones you want to use the most, or you can just take one you like and tweak it as well. So when you're working against a tight deadline, maybe it isn't going to be your go-to library for a quick sequence that you know is going to fit. But if you put the time and the effort and the hours and the labour in, you're going to come out with some absolutely fantastic results. Cycles has a huge amount of timbres available to the composer. There are over 450 loop sources, and they're divided into machine drums, modular, analog, frets, metallophones and bowed. And when you go through the presets, you can see in the top left, depending which source or which section we're using, that will change. In order to look at Cycles in a lot more detail, I've opened 7 Phase 1, which is the first preset. As you can see, the GUI is quite sizable, so sadly I can't fit the keyboard on. However, I'll be playing single notes mainly. Now, the GUI looks very, very clean, minimal, very crisp, and I really like the way it's presented. However, when I opened the Aura's GUI, I was hit with, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing, and I have the same feeling with cycles. But to me, that's part of the charm of the instrument, because it makes you want to delve in and experiment and start sculpting your sound. Now, Slate and Ash have made an absolutely brilliant video on YouTube. It's about 20 minutes long, and it goes into everything, into a lot of detail. So on the surface of things, it looks like quite a challenging instrument, but actually once you've watched that and you've got to grips with it, there's a learning curve, but within an hour you're going to be making some otherworldly sounds. To help get to grips with the GUI, I've turned the mouse cursor back on. So we have our general information at the top. The G stands for grains and the L stands for loops. We'll look more at that shortly. And if I just play the loop, it sounds like this. And the first thing you can see are the grains going across, and you can decide which ones are being played. So that essentially controls the start and the stop of the sample. Now down here with the grains, we can alter the parameters even more. So position, if I just turn that on, you can see that the grains are moving back and forth. Here we have the density. So how many grains will be played. The envelope. If I just turn the density off. There we go. And the size, which is already on. Now you can assign these to CC. So if I put that on my XY pad, so it's there. The volume, you can change the volume. I don't need to do that at the moment. The tune, so you can alter the tuning. So that's quite a big effect. And the scale mode. So everything can be controlled over with the LFO as well, and you can also CC these as you decide. So again, I like putting these onto my light block, which I use as an XY controller. And you can see the scales now bouncing up and down. So already on the first page, there's a lot going on. And then you have in the effects, the low pass, the high pass, repeat and space. Now, I believe you change the sound depending by the size of the circle. So you can affect these. Let's just increase the high pass. Probably gone a bit too far there. There we go. So the space obviously adds a huge reverb on there. Let's bring that down. So once again, on the first page already, lots of different possibilities to change the sounds. Now with the grains, you can also just completely randomize everything. And you can randomize, again, different aspects. So the timing, reverse. Can throw some random octaves in there. And I believe this will be the drift. Let's go turn that on. So once again, it's already incredibly clever, incredibly sophisticated, and I'm still only working on the first preset and generated so many different sonic capabilities. I'm still using 7 phase 1, which is the first preset, and we're going to look at the G and the L buttons. Now the G stands for granular and the L stands for loop. So if I press plus, I will load, let's say, drift. That's a very cool drift preset. So if I reset that, and then I can load, let's say, circles. So circles has activated the XY part of the user interface, and this is very cool. So these all control one part of the loop or one parameter, and you can change them any way you want. So we could put some random movements on there. It's very cool. You can record a specific one you want. You can link them. And they'll all do the same thing. And again, you can, oops, excuse me, change the mod. So you can add that to the mod wheel. So I've put that onto my XY pad, and I can move that in real time now. Okay, so if I'm playing again. So I can move the color parameter around. So the XY is very, very cool. Let's go to, let's just use a basic one, forward, reverse. So you can see the grains are moving forwards and they're moving backwards. Let's do one more. Let's do chaos. Okay, so I'm still using just the first preset, and again, there's a number of ways to completely change and sculpt that sound. Now let's continue and look at the loop button. Now the loop is a completely different part of the GUI. So if I just play the loop, so the 4 boxes control which parts of the loops you're playing. Now you can remove certain ones. It changes the loop. Then you can change the direction. I'll do the slice direction as well. So have a cool reverse effect there. You can add more to each loop. So we have 16 in each block, which gives us 64 in total. Just going to take some of these out. There's a slice direction. Then on the right we have our ADSR, You can change the filters. So again, it's all about the size of the circle. Filter envelope and different effects as well. So you can change the reverb type. Obviously add some, let's put some delay on there. And you can also adjust the signal, so volume, pitch, speed. And the panning. Again, you can randomize and you can use a basic EQ. So that's the loop page. Now, I am no expert at all with the instrument. I've been using it for many, many hours and finding a way to use it in my productions. But already I'm making lots and lots and lots of different sounds. Let's just go for one more loop preset. So we can have a rhythmic space pulse. And let's go for mirror. So this is all based on still that first preset. So imagine you can do all of this to any of the other presets. You know, that's opening up a whole world of possibility. So again, I can see why the instrument is seen as vast and really big, and sometimes too big if you want to quickly get in and just grab a sound you want to use. But at the same side, if you're one of those people who love experimenting, love being unique and creating really, really unique different sounds for your compositions, this is exactly the instrument for you. Now, I do feel that the overall sonic quality, the timbres and everything contained within the instrument is absolutely brilliant. The other thing you can do is add your own samples. So let's take a quick look at that. Adding your own loops is very, very straightforward. It is simply a drag and drop. It says for loops tempo sync to work correctly, audio must be 4 bars at 75 to 140 BPM. So this is one I've made at, it was 120, I believe. And if I just play it, now I've already put a small loop state on there, so let's just remove that. So that's what I've put in. If I just change and use a preset, you can manipulate it in a lot of different ways. Now let's just go forward, reverse. I'm going to change the granular engine as well. So let's just have, let's go rain. So you can see how you can change your own sounds, your own loops you've created, and apply the cycles engine to that as well. For the next section, I've loaded voice swing, which is a very ethereal pad sound. So there's a lot going on there. Now if I go to the sequencer and turn that on, we have our sequencer. So we can change and affect that ourselves. If I turn the poly off, so the polyphonic playing, the keyboard now changes. On the left we have various key switches for the pitch, and on the right you can see in the top left of the GUI it's going to change the sequence it plays. So using the key switches, you can change the pitch of those. So again, all of these different cycles can have that sequencer on and then have all of these different effects applied. So we can see how we can further change and sculpt the sounds. My final thoughts about cycles from Slate and Ash is, first of all, it's a wonderful, beautiful sounding instrument, completely unique. I can't think of anything else that is similar out there. It's got wonderful sampling, incredible onboard effects, and the way you can just take one preset and just customize, delve, sculpt, do so much with it and morph it into something different is absolutely breathtaking. I really urge you to read Michael's original review on Sample Library Review, because he makes these points in such a great way. I totally agree that the GUI is incredibly daunting. I've spent hours with this wonderful instrument and I'm still learning new things and finding things out. I really urge you to check out the Slate and Ash video as well, because that will help you in whichever area of the instrument you're looking at. There's a lot to take in, but you know, it really is worth putting the time in. So the fact it's so big, as Michael said, can be a curse, it can be a blessing. If you're on a tight deadline, maybe it isn't the instrument for you to pull out your favorite presets, but if you're willing to invest the hours, the rewards are absolutely fantastic. Now, who do I think the instrument's for? Well, it's certainly for media composers, video game composers, everyone who works in media but wants to have a cutting, unique edge to their scores. I could think of many different ways to implement this instrument. Could be used in ambient music, soundtrack, underscore, could be used in electronic music, could even be used in EDM. There's so many ways you can use this instrument. Personally, I'd use it with some soft orchestral underscore and create some amazing textures, some pulses, some movement, and some, you know, really emotive pieces. So Cycles is highly recommended. I'm going to be using this in my workflow for years to come, and I'm still going to be learning new things it can do. Thank you once again for checking out this video. Please leave a comment down below and let us know what you think about Cycles from Slate and Ash. Would you use it? How would you use it? Would it find its way into your workflow permanently? Please check out our other reviews on samplelibraryreview.com. Check out our other videos on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest and greatest in virtual instruments. Take care, have a fabulous day wherever you are.